Football fans, honestly, this isn't getting at any team, okay? So if I mention your team, it's not getting at you, it's getting at how poor the referees are at the moment. Every single game, near enough, in the FA Cup yesterday, referees were diabolical. And I'm going to go through it. And I'm not going to, it's not aimed at the teams. It's aimed to show fans how poor referees are. Let's not do the Crystal Palace one, because we all know Michael Oliver, he doesn't mind sending Skelly off for a trip straight away, immediate red card. When there's actually GBH virtually going on the field, he lets it play on. He didn't even give a yellow. I mean, so Crystal Palace Mill game, that was one. Diabolical refereeing. Then, okay, let's go to the Man City Plymouth game. It would made no difference whatsoever, but Man City winning 2-1. And frankly speaking, they're given a corner. Well, it was never a corner. It was Plymouth's goal kick. We'll start with that. Okay, so they shouldn't have scored. They would have won that game. They were 2-1 up anyway. But the ball comes over and there's a little push, from the Man City player. And then he goes and heads it in. Yeah, personally, I don't really think it's a foul, but I've seen them given. But it was never a corner. So, honestly, there's two games. Referees, I could pull loads more decisions out, but I'm just going for the ones that were, big decisions. That's the second game. We're talking about the Bournemouth Wolves game. 7.5 minutes, over 7.5 minutes, to decide why it was or wasn't a goal from a corner. 7.5 minutes. What are they looking at? One, they're looking for handball. At first I thought maybe it was handball. Then they're looking from offside, direct from a corner. And they've actually, was it obvious? What's the words they always use? Obvious, not conclusive or whatever. 7.5 minutes. It can't have been obvious and conclusive or whatever words they used. 7 minutes, 33 seconds to decide it's not a goal. So that's, not obvious and whatever they use. What appalling. It just ruins the game. I'm not going to go into it. I hear the commentators, because I didn't see the whole game, to be honest, saying, they've done a good job of winding Cunha up. Well, okay, Cunha's what a silly Billy. Sorry, not going to say anything. He deserved that red. He lost it. But have they been winding him up during the game? I don't know. It sounded like it to me, just reading reports. But that's not the point. That means referee didn't really control that. No, nothing to do with Bournemouth. Bournemouth deserved to win that, Wolves. They did. And Cunha's a twat. But that corner was a joke. What a joke. Then let's go to the Everton-Burnley game. The Preston-Burnley game. Burnley made 9 changes. I think they're looking at the league. They weren't taking that seriously. But then you've got, what's his name? Osmanjic. Look, considering what's going on there, okay, and what's happened, and the racist remarks and that, then he scores. Yeah, he scores, and it's a good goal. And I don't mind what players do. If players come to me, the opposition, and give me some of that stick, I'll give them stick back. I'm into that. But when you are doing that, I've seen players booked for going and winding up opposition fans. That, considering what's just happened, and he rushes over to the Burnley fans doing that and all that, I think the referee actually should have called him over and given him a yellow. I do. I think, there was tensions brewing there. That should never have happened. Should have got a yellow. No sending off. But I've seen players booked for going over to the opposition fans and doing that. I think he should have. That's 4 out of 4 games so far. The referees aren't looking at the games. Nothing against Preston. I think you deserve to win that, Preston. Okay? Right. Then we've got the Villa-Cardiff game. Personally, I don't think it was in my day, I wouldn't have given that as a penalty. And if I'd done that to somebody, it wouldn't have been a penalty. We saw that the first half, where the Cardiff player, he goes down because he's got a little tap on the underneath of his foot. Hardly anything, but he goes down. Well, I wouldn't have given a pen. But according to Gary Neville, when it's happened to Arsenal, he's gone, you touch somebody, any touch, it's a pen. I've heard him say it. So was it a pen? Wasn't it a pen? And some players are saying, some pundits are saying, I've seen him given for that. Well, it's true. So, I don't think it was a pen, but let's get it right, referees. Pens or not pens? Yeah? What is a penalty and what isn't nowadays? You make it up as you go along. So every single game yesterday, I can point out where the referee made a decision that was so poor. It's like, oh, what are you doing? That one I don't think was poor, in my opinion, but it was controversial because it's not in line with everything else they do, okay, nowadays. And I am knocking referees because they're inadequate. At last, we're seeing people going, Oliver, if he's the best we've got in England, God, that shows how bad referees are. Come on, guys. Every single game yesterday, referees are a mockery of what should be happening. They want to be the highlight of the game. I want VAR to have more influence and to have control on some of the decisions, but not run by referees, so that there's no conflict of interest. Football Chat Uncensored, Reno talking.